All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Founders Cut. Today, I'm super excited to have Rocky Collins, founder and CEO of CALI Handsome. Rocky, so I start every one of these with asking about who the founder is, not what the company is. So, can you kind of give me a quick overview about how you got to where you are today? What were you doing before you started CALI Handsome?
Yeah, I am. First off, I'm somebody who is very passionate about the cosmetics world and specifically for men's beauty. And I think for me, like the reason why I got into beauty in the first place stemmed from like, as you can see, I have a shaved head now. I started losing my hair really bad when I was about 24 years old. And so like that hereditary balding thing hits me hard. And I think I relied on cosmetics so much to take ownership over like how I would appear in public. And it's like, all right, look, if I can't have my hair anymore, at least I can have the best beard, or at least I can have the best skin, or at least I can, you know what I mean? Like you start trying to like compensate for those things and like the power of cosmetics and having control of how you want to present yourself to the world and feeling confident and just feeling like, hey, you know what? I look good. I feel good. I can go be who I want to be. That is what the power of cosmetics did for me at a very early age. And I think that is like literally the biggest reason why I'm such a fan of it. And specifically for men, like guys need to know the power that cosmetics in a subtle way can do for them. So I definitely am a super huge advocate for the beauty space. My entire professional career, I was a corporate retail buyer. So I was a buyer for started my career at American Eagle, did a contract at L'Oreal, and then most recently before Cali Handsome full time, I was a buyer at Guess Inc. So I managed about $110 million in annual retail volume across four product categories, mostly in like accessories and leather goods, handbags, and all that good stuff. So, and I always say like the business of retail is my favorite sport. And is a sport, it is a sport that I can do literally until, you know what I mean? Not to say until the day I die, but like in theory, you can literally play the game of business until you are like no longer here. Look at Warren Buffett. Like he's literally playing the game of business for his lifetime. So yeah, man, I think Callie Hansen was such a thing that combines two of the things I love the most: the beauty industry and like my favorite sport, which is the business of retail. And so those two things combined, like that's me.
Well, first of all, I like your slogan, "Look good, feel good." I have a company that I like called "Look," that says "Do good" as their slogan. So, look good, feel good, do good. I can vibe with that. Yeah, I think it's very funny that you say the competitive side, right? Because oftentimes I do think people that are in business have that competitive edge because you need to. You get told all the time it's not going to work, like you're crazy, whatnot. And so that it motivates you, it fuels you to want to prove people wrong, right?
100%. And the thing with business is too, it's like art is a little bit different because it's like it depends on who's looking at it. Business, the numbers don't lie. Like the math is in the math. You know what I mean? So it's like it's one of those sports where it's like business is ultra competitive, but it's also like you can shut haters up by like literally being like, here's what we did. Like here's the receipts. We don't have a valid business. Here's the numbers. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Yeah. So tell me okay, one more question before we jump into what the company does.
Yeah.
Where does the name Cali Handsome come from?
Oh man. Oh, okay. It was one of those things where it's like, so I'm from the East Coast. I'm from New Jersey. After college, moved to New York, and then I moved to LA. And every time I would come home from LA, all my friends, like Thanksgiving and stuff, all my friends would be like, "Oh, like he's fly, but like, nah, you Cali fly now," or like, "Oh, you was always like, had nice things, but now you got that Cali good stuff now, that Hollywood stuff." So like Cali, the phrase became like an adjective for whatever
Sure.
came afterwards, almost meaning like a heightened version of it. So like, oh, you're like you fly, but like you're Cali fly now, or like, oh, you cool, but now you like Cali cool. And so when I thought about like the name for a men's beauty brand, at the end of the day, every guy wants to be handsome. But then I was like, huh, I don't just want to be handsome, I want to be Cali handsome. And like that's how I like got the name and put both of those together.
Yeah, I love always hearing about how people come up with company names. It's fun to hear like the backstory
It was a
about it.
hard thing to do. I'm not gonna lie. Like thinking of
Yeah.
a name for the brand, I literally was trying to do like the pen and paper and all that, and it was so difficult until I just was like, you know what? At the end of the day, like, what do I want to be? What do guys want to be? They want to be handsome. Like,
Yeah.
when you just like take all the BS away and not try to like sound good, what rolls off the tongue good, it's like, what do you want to be?
Yeah. No, no, no. It's pretty simple, right? Like people all just want to feel their best. So it makes a lot of
Exactly.
sense. So, all right, let's dive into it. What was the genesis of Callie Handsome? Like what did you get started with? Like how did it come about? You were working a 9 to 5 and decided, you wanted to throw your hat in the ring?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, so like I mentioned before, I started my career at American Eagle, and then when I went to the West Coast, I was doing a position at L'Oreal, and I was working at their men's brand, Baxter, California. And at that time, I started to see how much opportunity was in the men's grooming space, but I also saw like so much like of the market that wasn't being serviced, and nobody was like really listening to the ideas that I had. So I was like, okay, cool. Like if y'all not gonna do it, then like I'm gonna find a way to do it. You know what I mean? And so I pretty much decided at that point that I'm like, there's opportunity here. It combines both of the things that I love in beauty and retail. And so like I immediately left that role because I didn't want any sort of conflict of interest. So I left them and then started at Guess. And when I was working as a buyer at Guess, I would spend like my non-guest time working on building Cali Handsome. And to be honest, it's so interesting too because I didn't think guys would be ready to use actual like cosmetic products. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like maybe let's ease them into it. Let's start with skincare. And so Cali Handsome started originally with just 3 skincare products. And it wasn't until like the like right I mean, it was still 2020, so it was still pandemic time, but it was like when people were like starting to go back outside, like fall of 2020, and I was already like doing so much like beard cosmetics to my beard. It's like patchy today because I didn't fill it in. I didn't use my filler today. I'm in founder mode, okay, founder mode. But I started to get DMs on Instagram where guys were like, "Hey, no offense, bro, but like 2 hours ago you were at the gym. Your beard was like, patchy, like how it normally is, and like." But now that you're getting ready to go out to dinner, like your beard is perfectly full. Like, what? How are you doing this? And that's when I literally just started asking or responding to like these DMs and all that. And like, hey, if I put out a product for you guys to like fill in your beard, fill in your hairlines, like, would you buy it? How much would you pay for it? Like all of that sort of stuff. We end up like launching that beard pencil and hairline filler in January of 2021, and like within the first month it became our number one seller. It was like 90% of the business, and it like shocked the crap out of me because I'm like, here I thought I needed to get guys used to using skincare first, and then like that'll snowball into them using more like other beauty products and cosmetics. That was not the case. It was like literally, if you can find a way to solve a problem, guys will go for it. And I remember like calling like one of the customers, because especially at that point too, like I was doing all the shipping myself. So I would see all the customers that came in because I would be printing the labels and all that stuff. And I remember calling one customer being like, hey, bro, like you never use like skincare from us at all, but like you eat this beard pencil up. Like you don't miss. Like you're always here. What's going on? He literally was just like, hey, like I don't really care too much about the skincare side. I mean, if I have it, I have it. If I don't, I don't. However, if you can help me keep a perfect hairline in between seeing my barber, like I will rock with you all day long. And that was like the biggest aha for me, where it was like, dang, like you don't need to, we didn't need to start with skincare before going into cosmetics because they're different customers. Like the skincare customer is like a guy who's like, you know, I'm into skincare. I want to do all this, that, and a third. But like the beard and hairline filler, that was a customer that's like, look, even if I don't care about cosmetics or beauty at all, balding and hair loss is such a severe problem that like I will buy whatever product you are selling to fix it. And that like changed the game for us. And like, I mean, at this point, the company, like we're a cosmetics company. Like we don't even speak about ourselves as being a skincare company. I mean, we still have our 3 skincare products on our site right now until we like completely sell out of inventory, which as of a couple of days ago, we are completely out of like the skincare inventory. So like we're a pure cosmetics company now. But yeah, it was insane how things shifted once that beer pencil dropped. It like changed the face of like everything for us.
I think that's really important for people that are founders listening to this to understand. Until you get out there with a product and try to sell it, you don't actually know if you're hitting the mark or missing the mark, right? And so for you all, you had a hypothesis, you rolled with it. It was, maybe not what you expected it to be, but it unlocked what you're destined for, which was to become, like you said, a
100%.
cosmetics company instead of a skincare
100%.
company. But you would have never known if you spent, an extra 12 months perfecting like the perfect skincare product,
Yeah,
dropping a bunch of time and maybe even like R&D money on it to then
100%.
find out later that like it's crickets, right? Oh, well, compared to what it could have been with just like, the beard pencil and whatnot. So I think that's really
100%.
important for people to understand. Talk about, the timeline. When, like, how long did you start and where are you at today?
Yeah. I started developing the products, our skincare products, back in April of 2019. Still working a full-time job, and that was just like our development year. Like no product was on the market. The next year being 2020, like we know what COVID was like for all of us. Like we couldn't even get componentry, like containers to like fill product to really sell it. 2021 was really like our first like soft launch, like we call it like our proof of concept year, where we like, and it's crazy too because I remember like ordering specifically with the beer pencil too, like ordering like small batches, being like, hey, if I can just sell 50 of these in a month, like maybe this thing will have some legs. Man, we started selling like 20 a day, and I was like, what is going on here? Like it was just crazy. So 2021 was like our real first like soft launch on like dropping our products, and it was constantly like, also we had a limited budget, so our inventory orders weren't that big. It was maybe like 500 units at a time. So it's like buy 500 units, we sell out from that money, buy more the next time, get it, sell out. It was like that whole like sort of situation. And then the same with 2022. I mean, we started doing bigger orders, but it's like, yeah, I think the demand definitely outpaced what I assumed it would be. But also, like, I will say too, we are 100% bootstrap business. Like I started this company with 8 grand in cash, no outside investment and all of that. And so, you can only grow as fast as you can afford to grow without choking and without starving your business. But to go from $8,000 in cash to now doing minimum 6 figures in a year in an annual business, I think is quite the feat. The business has doubled every year since we launched, and we've been profitable every year since we've launched, like with a tax bill. I know a lot of people, oh, we're profitable, this, and that, and the third. We pay the IRS profitable. Like there's profits that are taxed sort of situation. So, and I think for me, it's one of those things where it's like, because I don't come from like the right schools or like family connections where it's like you have access to private equity
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
markets and like VC firms and all that. Like I didn't really even know what a VC firm was when I started the company. Like I just didn't. And so for me, launching this company was never about like, oh, let me try to launch a company and win investors. It was win our customer.
And
That was
survive.
the main thing. Win our customers and survive. So like what seems like a disadvantage actually turned out to be the best thing ever. Where it's like we had to win our customer before we can even think about winning an investor. And that was like the best thing for us. And yeah, I mean, we wouldn't be where we are today without it. Doing 6 figures in annual business. We have over 250 verified 5-star reviews on our website. Like our conversion rates are double the industry average. It's just like it's insane the business that we've built with literally starting with $8,000. Like that's insane.
Yeah, it's the value of money when you have to use your own, right? It's a lot
100%.
easier to be more, flippant with it if it's someone just writing you a quote unquote blank check. So,
It's so
yeah,
I would tell you too, I was so shocked when I found out that like a lot of businesses start and they're in the red for like the first 5 years. Cause I'm like, I mean, a lot of people from like minority communities and stuff, it's like, yo, if your business ain't profitable in the beginning, you're not gonna survive till year
yeah,
3 5.
yeah.
Like the banks ain't giving us a loan and we didn't really have access or knowledge of the private market. So it's like, I was just like, dang, people getting getting money on something that's like losing money for 5 years, like that's it was just a shock to me. It makes sense. Like I can see why in some cases, but like it was a big shock. It was a big shock to me. And I think it's to your point. Like when you don't have anything, it's like money matters a lot more. It hits a little different when it's your
Yeah.
money and you don't have a lot of it. You got to find ways to make it work.
Yeah, I'm a first generation, so my folks came over from South Korea. And
Mm.
you know, like your
Oh,
financial success or lack of success is like a direct, scarlet letter on your chest for your family's last name. So
oh
I
yeah.
think like when you look at minorities or people that come from another country where they don't have access to capital, it is a tough ask to go and ask friends and family for your startup cash, right? It's like
Also, you don't have friends and family that have that kind of.
sure.
I was just like, yeah, I remember somebody being like, well, why don't you just go ask your friends and family
Well,
for give.
friends. Woo.
I was like, what friends and family? That's just like my friends would have,
Yeah, we're
they
all
were
trying to
coming
be
to.
on the come up together.
Yeah, I'm like, I couldn't imagine, like, even Callie Handsome aside, before that came into my life, like, what if one of my friends came to me and was like, hey, I'm raising this round. Can you like write me $1,000 check? What $1,000?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, for
what
sure.
thousand student loans and everything else? What $1,000, bro? Like,
No, yeah, no, I hear you, man. When I did my company, I bootstrapped it because I just could never get myself to the point where I wanted to ask friends and family for that initial money. So, grinded it out. But yeah, I think like you feel the pain and the wins of every dollar you spend, whether it's successful or
100%.
not, right?
100%.
Um, Before I forget, how do people find you? Like where do they go? What's the URL or the Instagram or whatever socials that you're rocking?
Yeah, everything is Cali Handsome. So like the website is calihandsome.com and that's Cali like California, CALI. And then handsome, we just omitted the first two vowels. So it's HNDSME. Calihandsome.com, Instagram, Cali Handsome. Um, yeah, right now those are like our primary channels. We're also like on Amazon as well, Cali Handsome. So yeah.
And anything on the horizon that you want to talk about?
Well, pretty soon, hopefully, fingers crossed, we will be closing our pre-seed round pretty soon. So we're
Nice.
actively fundraising right now. Yeah. We're already in due diligence with two pre-seed funds. We already have investment commitments from a few angels. So um it seems like we're going to be doing some pretty big things over like the next 9 to 12 months to make a big splash. So I think yeah, everybody should just look forward to like this new incredible brand that's it's building a cult community following at this point. Is gonna do it in a very amplified way.
Yeah, it's funny. Well, not funny, but as I learn more about what you're doing, I thought to myself, as a guy, what do I really focus my time and attention on? It's my hair, it's my facial, my like my lack of a beard, whatever, and then my accessories, right? My watch and my shoes. And outside of that, I don't really put more effort like basic t-shirts and jeans or shorts, and but like most of our
Exactly.
time and attention is spent like above the neck and then on our accessories, and that's it. So yeah, I'm not surprised that you found this like really dynamic product market fit. um
Yeah.
as we kind of get close to the end, anyone you want to shout out on your journey here?
Oh man, I feel like there's even though I'm a solo founder and an employee staff of one, there's been so many people that have helped me along this way. I mean, I would just want to, give a huge blanket shout out to all of the contract creators that I've worked with, whether you've like made a 30-second video or like, when we were living in LA trying to do our first concept marketing shoot, if you've like lended your time for a couple $100, all of the people who've been with me in the trenches from the ground up, thank y'all. Even people who my past colleagues at corporate companies, I used to email them being like, oh, like, yo, I need to get this inventory file put together, but I needed like a dumb version. Like, can you just make these pivot tables real quick? Like, you can do it in 5 seconds, but it'll take me 5 weeks to do. And like former colleagues would literally step in and be like, look, send me all your raw data. I got you, bro. Like, just thank you to all the people who like believed in like not just my company, because I feel like a lot of people were doing it because they believed in me and they were like,
Yeah,
whatever you're doing, I'll get behind. Like,
yeah.
oh, men's beauty, okay, sounds nice, but like you, I'll get behind. So just thank you to all the people who've got behind me. And I think when people look at Cali Handsome now and what we've built, they're kind of amazed by it and they're amazed by me, but it's really not me. It's like all the people who've poured into it behind the scenes. And like we will be on here for another hour if I went through name by name, but just like if you ever helped me or even offered guidance or advice or a repost or anything like that on social media, just thank you. And shout out to the customers because like it's the customers that keep the lights on. I'm very clear on that. No matter what happens in our fundraising journey and how we grow the business and exit, all that stuff is nice. But at the end of the day, our customers are the bloodline. Our
Yeah.
customers are the people that keep the lights on. They are what fueled the business. They, you know what I mean? So thank y'all to the customers that's rocking with Cali Handsome.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about early stage companies is they know what is the most important. It's their customers, right? You get
100%.
too big, you often get the wrong people in the leadership roles, or they become at the mercy of the stock price or whatever, and they lose sight. But at a stage like your company, for sure, you know where your bread is buttered, and that's the customer. So, um, you know, one other question I want to ask before we finally close it out is for any founders that are listening out there, what kind of advice do you have for them?
Mm. Oh, I guess like two things immediately pop to mind. One is focus on winning your customer. I think a lot of people sometimes, or I won't generalize, but I'll just say I've come across quite a bit of people in my experience. I've come across a lot of people who like when they first start out with like building a business or building a brand, the number one thing they're thinking of is like, okay, like how do I build this or position this to get investors to buy into it? And me personally, I think the better route would be finding your customer. How can you serve your customers? Do you have people that are willing to pay for it? Are they willing to pay top dollar for it? And do the unit economics work. Focus on winning your customer. If you focus on winning your customer, like all those other things will take care of itself. If you build it, the investors will come. Like
Yeah,
if you focus on your customer, the success will come, the money will come. And then the other thing, which I think I kind of learned a little bit later, get a financial house in order. Like you're the financial side of your business, understand that as quickly as possible. Like understand it's a very big difference between being profitable on paper and having cash in the bank. Like your sales reports are very different from your P&L, which is very different from your cash flow statement. You can have a profitable P&L and be negative cash flow. Like, and I didn't understand that as much in the beginning because I'm like, oh my God, we're killing it. Our customers are da 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 da. Like, oh, right, look at our sales reports. We're profitable, but like the cash flow is the bloodline of your business. And it doesn't matter how well you're doing top line. If that cash flow situation is not sorted out, like you won't be around next quarter. Your business won't be around next year. So I would say those are the two biggest things. Focus on winning your customer first and everything else will follow. And then understand your cash flow.
I love it. It's like it's very much on complete opposite ends of the spectrum. One is very much boots on the ground, get your hands dirty and understand who the people are. The other side is very much more like scientific and mathematical and like so
Real
two ends of the
good.
spectrum, but both extremely necessary if you want to survive in the early days. Well,
Yeah.
Rocky, I really appreciate your time. Kudos to you on building something so amazing. Using your sweat equity and a little bit of cash off the start to make it happen. And I'm always a huge fan of people that you know take the risk and jump off the cliff and go for it all. So if people want to find you, they can find you at calihandsome.com.
Mhm.
I'll be sure to include that in the description as well so people can find it and spell it properly. Any last words?
Oh man, I would say any last words? I guess if you can dream it, you can make it. If you can dream it, you can make it. And don't let anybody tell you differently. I mean, I had the idea in 2019, and here we are in 2023, and it's finally catching attention of some like that big wigs in the outside bigger world. So if you can dream it, you can do it.
Yep. And if you look good, you feel good, right?
Yes, and be unapologetic. Our slogan for the company is literally unapologetically handsome AF. Like, period.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you again, Rocky. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Cheers, man.